Alright, with me making some headway on Season 3, I feel like what I should do is make a video talking about my favourite arcs of Tower of God, at least so far. So that's what I'm going to do. This is going to be a quick top 5 video of my 5 favourite arcs of Tower of God so far. So, Season 1 all the way through to the end of Season 2. Obviously I'm not including anything from Season 3 because I'm fucking reading it right now. A few other things to mention. I haven't put the greatest deal of thought into this list I kind of came up with on the spot a little bit, so my opinions could change depending on when you ask me or when I think about it, but this is what I've come up with right now, so we go with this, but it is all subject to change. And one last thing before we get into the list, let's play rock, paper, scissors. If you lose, you subscribe. If you don't, you can go about your day, do whatever the fuck you want. I'm not going to hold you to anything. And yeah, on shoot, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. If you lost, hit the sub button while you're down there. Maybe hit the notification bell as well. Leave a like. Tell me your favorite arcs of Tower of God. And yeah, all of that really helps get the videos spread. So yeah, anyway, with that out of the way, let's start talking about my 5 favorite arcs from Tower of God with number 5, Season 1. I am going to count all of Season 1 as one arc, which might seem contradictory, especially with what I'm going to get into immediately after this, but Season 1 for me feels like one kind of all-together piece. Maybe that's because I watched it as the anime, so because I haven't read Season 1, I've only seen Season 1 as the anime, so that's probably why it feels like one arc to me, because it's a lot more condensed. But it's also shorter, but it's a lot more together for me because I watched it as that 12-episode run. You know, it's kind of seamless in how it transitions. There's not really like big like, okay, so we have this and then bam, we're this whole other things going on here now that we've done that first thing. Yes, through the the different trials, I guess, the games. You have the first thing where you got to kill people, and then you got to make teammates, where Balmung and Rock first meet up. You've got the Shinsu Wall. You've got the Crown game, which I absolutely love, by the way. That's probably the highlight for me of Season 1. I love the Crown game, although I think Season 1 gets better as it goes on, at least in the anime. That's just me. Tell me your opinion if you want. But yet, and then you've also got the final game where the big push happens. But for me, most of Season 1 feels very connected. It's all one story arc, one line, one focused thing. I haven't really told you what I like about it, but it stands above a lot of the other arcs that I won't be mentioning in this, and you kind of can't not like Season 1. At least I love it, but again, that's from the anime's perspective. I will go back and read Season 1 eventually, and I will make a video talking about it and comparing it to the anime. But yes, those are my thoughts on Season 1. I think it's good. I know I spent most of this entry just chatting about why I think it's its own arc instead of why I like it, but it is really good. I mean, I did mention, but yeah, anyway. Season 1, easily in my top 5. Here it is, sitting comfortably in the 5th spot. Number 4 will be The Last Station. Now, you're probably thinking, but that's part of the Hell Train arc, which is one arc. Well, given what I said about Season 3, I know. However, for me, Season 1, but for me, the Hell Train feels like it's one major arc with a bunch of sub-arcs, because it is. The Hell Train is broken up into sub-arcs, and saying, yeah, I like the Hell Train, that's my favourite arc, really doesn't say a fucking lot of anything, because of how varying the plot lines of the Hell Train actually are. They're not as, they obviously are connected, but they're not as seamlessly so as Season 1's progression is. Obviously, you can't really say that the Data Floor is the same arc as Revolution Road, can you? If you get what I mean. But anyway, The Last Station. I feel like I'm in the minority with this, especially from what I've seen in the comments. I like The Last Station. It introduces a handful of characters, which we obviously, albeit at the time we don't really know a whole lot about, but I know will have greater impact on the story as things go on, especially with the few things they've done. I really like the action scenes we get, and I think that's like the crux of why I really like The Last Station. Arguably, I think I could switch Season 1 and The Last Station around and maybe put Season 1 at number 4 or Last Station at 5. Actually, I think that's probably more accurate as to how I feel. Yeah, so I'm not going to re-record this or edit in any funny way, but yeah, so actually Last Station is 5th, and Season 1 is 4th, but I do actually really like Last Station. I like the action in it. The small bits of character development we get, you get Balm fusing with the Black March, that's a really cool moment to end Season 2 off on. And also, don't forget, there is recency bias here, because obviously it's the end of Season 2. I very recently read it, so there's that definitely affecting it. But yeah, I do quite like The Last Station, and again, I do think I'm in the minority with that, but hey, I'm not trying to be a contrarian, that's just how I feel. Number 3, another one of those sub-arcs from the Hell Train, The Dallas Show, and it won't be the last sub-arc of the Hell Train, because there's a lot of them, and there are actually 3 in this. The next entry, number 2, is also from the Hell Train, but number 3 is The Dallas Show. I think this is the highlight of the Hell Train when they're actually on the train and not doing things outside of it. For example, Floor of Death, Data Floor, Last Station, Name Hunt Station, foreshadowing. The Dallas Show is really cool. We get White, we introduce to Joaquin. Well, we're not introduced to Joaquin, but we get White, becoming, the siblings becoming one, becoming White. We introduced to Albelda. We get the fight, brief, confrontation between White and Balm in the final game. You also have the small mini games that lead up to it as well. You also get the clash between between Kun and Rachel, and their clashing wits, if you will. It's just a really nice little sub-arc to cap off the... that was loud, I think. At least it peaked the audio. Apologies for that. To cap off the Hell Train as in the actual train part of the Hell Train arc. And yeah, that's all we have to say. It's a nice conclusion to the train part of the Hell Train. Yeah. Not really got any other thoughts. I just kind of like it. Because White's cool. And also, Albelda is cool, I guess, to a degree. And also, I really like the dynamic that Kun and Rachel have during this whole section of the story. It's really, really cool. I really love it, and it sets things up beautifully for later on. But yeah, moving on to my second favourite arc, if you hadn't gathered from my blatant hinting, it is the Name Hunt Station. Now, I don't know where other people stand on how much they like the Name Hunt Station arc, but for me, I really liked it. So, let's talk about the action first. We obviously have some really cool fights. We have Kaiser vs. Balm, which is to cap off the arc, which is really, really fucking cool, right? That's a really good fight. We have Kaiser herself, or Elaine, who is actually a very interesting character, who gives us a lot of insight, much like Angel did, into how scummy the families are, the Tengri families, and their obsession with the princesses and getting power and accruing favor. It really gives us a nice insight into that, and also it really also shows how scummy they are, because they are completely taking advantage of Elaine and the fact she wants to, have them forgive her when they actually just don't give a singular fuck about her. You also have her aide. I forgot her name. This isn't the first time I've said I forgot her name. I did it in the tier list video. Elaine, obviously, is a great character. And we also have the shocking thing of Endorsi has her fucking name stolen. You are brought into this arc with a huge bombshell that Endorsi lost a fight. Whether she admits it was because she was weaker than her opponent or she was just caught off guard, doesn't matter. Endorsi lost a fight. Also in this arc, you get Ran versus the Ari guy, who is, the dark-skinned Ari guy. I don't remember his name, but Ran fights him, which is a really cool fight. What else do we have in this arc? Yeah, we also have the scene that I like of between Endorsi and Balm. I like that scene. Leave me alone. It's pretty good. I like this arc a lot. Name Hunt Station. It was a really good read, the whole time, and yet I skipped over it when I made videos on it and had to go back to it after making a video on an arc later than it. Probably doesn't give you the best impression of how much I think about this arc, but I actually do really like it, looking back on things, and what it brought in terms of, developments. It introduced a new character. We got Elaine, who is now more prevalent as, well, I say more, at least a little bit prevalent in Season 3. Pretty good arc overall. I like the Name Hunt Station. And number 1, my favourite arc of Tower of God so far. This shouldn't be the biggest surprise, I'm pretty sure most people will agree with this. It's the workshop battle. And honestly, if you go back and watch my first video where I start titled So I Started Reading Tower of God Season 2, I was absolutely fucking in love with this arc and like everything it was doing. Like, it was brilliant. The developments, all the new characters were introduced. Well, I say characters introduced. Most of them were introduced to prior to the name hunt state, the workshop battle. But in reality, I think I can just call the workshop battle is basically just a placeholder for everything that happened in Season 2 up until, you know, like the end of the workshop battle, really. But I'm calling it the workshop battle because that's like the culmination, the pinnacle, the overall, you know, this is the peak point of Season 2, at least in my opinion, right now. Maybe my opinion will change in the future when I eventually perhaps reread it and look back on it all, but the workshop battle is incredible. We get some really cool stuff. You know, Thorn is introduced. We get to, you know, some intervention from this mysterious Karaka character that we all obviously now know. It's when Balm is properly brought back together with his old friends, his old teammates, and it's a really, really good. Huarian, in this, especially this arc, is incredible. Mainly through the early stages of Season 2, I absolutely love everything Huarian does, but it's especially in the workshop battle that I'm like, oh my god, it's so good. And Huarian is a very big part of why I like the workshop battle, because I think she's written really well in what she does, at least in the background. Maybe you disagree, but that's what I think. But obviously there's a ton of other great things about the workshop battle. I've talked about it in a bit more length, you know, in my video about the early stages of Season 2. So if you want more detail on any of these arcs, I have videos up on my channel talking about them in a bit more detail. But that's my list. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me how strongly or not strongly you disagree with my placing of arcs. And yeah, that's really all there is to it. I've been Animosy, you've been you, and hope to see you all next time for another video. Ta-ta, for now.